one thing that I've found in college that I tell people all the time is take advantage of the office hours for your professor. Okay, because here's the thing. If you're in a philosophy class, an engineering class, a math class, and it depends. Some professors might not be great on their office hours, but I will say I was an English major and a government minor. That when you take example and to go to talk to the professor about this stuff, this is somebody that spent their entire life studying the Constitution or studying English literature from the 19th century. When you go to talk to them, him or her about their particular expertise, that is honoring both their life's work, but it's also hopefully really interesting. And by the way, on the pragmatic level, when it comes down to grade shifting, if somebody realizes this student has showed up, I really felt like there was an element of goodwill that like, okay, we're going from a B to a B plus. You know what I mean? Because this person showed up and really is concerned. But I mean, I know, Christine, you have big lecture classes, but I got to imagine some students make an impression on you that way, right?
So my biggest regret from my university days is that I did not go to office hours nearly enough. And so I tell any undergraduate who will listen, come to office hours. Most of the time, I just sit here with my door open and nobody comes to talk to me. And were they to come talk to me, not only would I help them with the course material, but I talk to them about what letters of recommendation I might write to help them get a job. I would talk to them about who else I could introduce them to that would be useful in their career. And then maybe we would connect in some way that I would be an ongoing connection for their future. This was not something that I knew when I was 18, and I very much wish that I had. And so it's wonderful, Bill, that you actually put me saying that in your book. So that is in the freshman's Bible guide. Yeah. So I think that's a really important element. And Quinn, what you were talking about was Dale Carnegie in action, because this is this idea of opening and making a friendship with somebody by recognizing a mutual interest, but also complimenting them on something sincere. And so this is really just great, great social psychology in action. When I think about college in a kind of without my professor hat on. So when I have my professor hat on, I guess I want you to really learn the course material. But when I have any other hat on and I think about college, I think about it much more in terms of social capital than in terms of human capital. So human capital is the investment you make in yourself and what you know and what you're maybe learning in college. But social capital is about who you know. It's about your friends and your professors. And really, mostly what I took from my college experience is a great deal of social capital. And so I would encourage everybody to join clubs, to meet with their professors, to make really lifelong friends and keep in touch, and do things that are interesting to you, compliment others for their successes, work together well as a team, because that kind of social capital and those social connections, that's going to be the thing that you take away for decades to come.
There's a huge network of people at your college that expands out through thousands of other people with alumni, professors, et cetera, friends that are part of the experience. And like Christine said, we talk about the book about getting involved beyond just your classes, but getting involved in things that really excite you and interest you, and forming bonds outside of the classroom, like you were saying. I know in my own life, many years later, these are friendships that have been deep parts of my life. And also, they've even had professional implications I would never have been aware of many years later as well.
And I'll just add one last point to sort of tie in some of the multiple themes that came up in this conversation, and then just really concretely added my experience to it, which is to say what you just said. A lot of people get into this game or get into the idea or the thought, or it feels promoted to them that they have to do everything. And so they try and do everything. They try and do all of the clubs, and they try and have all of the social outings, and they do all the classes, and they're trying to do their best in all of them. And while that's admirable, and I think that's great, and that might work for one or two people, I think ultimately what really helped me, and it helped me socially, it helped me have meaningful connections. And then even this kind of future and forward looking item of thinking about where you want to be and what job you want to have, picking one or two extracurriculars that I could concretely talk about in terms of my values, and say why that, oh, I was involved in this club, and that's related. These are the skills I gained from being in that club, but also this is why it was personally meaningful to me. I didn't just pick this club to have more items on my resume. And I'll even say, like, in my PhD interview, I think I talked about the fact that I was part of a rock climbing club. I used to be a big rock climber. And And like that was part of my PhD interview because I could talk about how it was related to things that I'm academically interested in, but then also more concretely some of my values and how I get involved in various ways on campus.